All right, so welcome back to our home buying series. This is our step number 5 in our home buying series videos. So today we're going to go over a little bit about due diligence and inspections, and then go into detail a little bit more about repairs as well and negotiating repairs. So I kind of want to go over, you get a 10 business day period once you have a ratified, agreed upon contract with the seller. And this is really your time to make sure that you are happy with every aspect of the home that you're looking to buy. So even something as simple as the commute to and from work is something worth checking out. Items like water pressure, some of the stuff you can do really before you place an offer, but just things to think of as you're going through this due diligence period. You just want to make sure there's nothing in your gut telling you to walk away from this home, and make sure you're 100% comfortable with everything that gets found during your inspections as well. So like I said, this is normally a 10 business day period. Essentially 2 weeks to find out all the info you can on this home. So items like the homeowners association, is there one? And if so, are you happy with all their covenants and restrictions that they're going to impose once you move into this neighborhood? A lot of HOAs have restrictions on parking in the street or overnight parking, adding on an awning or adding a shed to your backyard, just all types of things that really only you know as the buyer that you may want to do in the future. So just make sure you give those covenants and restrictions a good review before you get through this 10 business day period. HOAs, they're there really to keep the value of your home up, but they can become a nuisance if there's something in there that you don't necessarily agree with, but you signed up for when you bought the home. So again, during this time, you'll also be performing various types of inspections. So a lot of the common inspections you come across, of course, will be your general home inspection. So this one kind of goes over all the aspects of the home, but not in great detail. So that home inspector is going to be looking at everything from the attic down to the crawl space, but not necessarily opening up an HVAC to dissect if it's running 100% properly. So they will typically recommend, if they think something needs further evaluation by an HVAC or a roofing company. But just be sure, I always try to encourage my clients to be present at inspections so that you can hear straight from the inspector what they're finding and make a decision for yourself based on what they tell you. Having the agent as the middleman between the inspector and the client, a lot of things can sometimes get lost in translation there. So like I said, you have the home inspection. Other common inspections are going to be a termite inspection. Lenders will sometimes require these to make sure the home's in good shape. They will check for moisture in the crawl space. You can have an HVAC inspection. They'll get a little bit more in depth on the HVAC unit to ensure all the components are working properly. Roofing inspection, chimney inspection, which is important if you do plan on using the fireplace to make sure that chimney is in safe working condition. You can get a mold inspection, which will really be checking for moisture, but also mold spores to ensure there's no mold in the home. Items like a septic and a well, depending on the home, may be something you want to get inspected. Wells are commonly known to accumulate bacteria, so that'll be something always worth getting inspected, along with a septic tank, which may be full because of the current sellers, and you may need to get it pumped in order to get it inspected. So all these things are things you want to just keep in mind during the due diligence. The more you can get inspected, the better you should feel about the investment you're about to purchase. I do tell people inspections are not really a time to ask for a bunch of cosmetic repairs. These items needed to be addressed really when the offer was initially made. Items like cracked tile, stained carpet, stuff like that. Just keep in mind you're asking the seller to do these things. Make sure they're major items that you want done in order to move into the home and be able to enjoy it to its fullest. So if the HVAC may have a component that's not working properly, or the roof is leaking, those are items I would want a seller to address before I ever moved into the home. Sometimes you may have a seller come back and say, we don't want to do this, but we'll drop the price by a blank amount. Just something to keep in mind. That may be another strategy. However, I always recommend just get the repairs made if they're willing to do it, because otherwise you're going to have to be fronting that cash once you move in to get the repairs made. These repairs do not go away once the home is sold, so keep that in mind as well. Really, the most important things to look for when you're purchasing a home, I tell everybody, is moisture. Water intrusion, whether it's from the roof, from a leaky plumbing fixture, from an appliance, that is going to be a huge cause for issues down the road, especially if it's still ongoing. It'll rot out subfloor, cause issues for mold growth. So just keep this in mind. Drainage around the home, you want to make sure there's not puddling going on all around your house that may affect your crawl space moisture levels, and also affect the grading where it's starting to wash out your foundation. So other things to keep in mind, you can do foundation inspections to make sure there's no issues there as well. I always tell people to check around toilets and tubs to make sure that the floor is not soft as you're stepping on it. Just normally a telltale sign of moisture currently decaying that subfloor if it is soft. So when you go in to place the offer, do make sure you're looking at the age of the roof and the HVAC and placing your offer accordingly based on those ages. I've had people come up to my sellers and want a new roof or a new HVAC even though no issues were noted with them simply because they were older. But those items were really noted when you place the offer, so it's better if that's something that is a concern to you, just go ahead and make that a concern up front instead of coming and asking for something to be replaced just because of its age later on. The type of siding on a home, something else very important to consider, whether it's stucco, brick, wood, vinyl, masonite. Keep in mind when you get a siding like wood or vinyl or even stucco, you're going to have a little bit more maintenance required on that type of siding. So if you're the type that likes to defer your maintenance, you may be better off with a brick or vinyl sided home. Looking for cracks in walls, around windows. You may see cracks commonly as you're out looking at homes. It's not uncommon to see that, but it's more important to know whether that crack is just structural or just a cosmetic crack. So really that's what your inspector is going to be there for, is to let you know whether this is something that may be a bigger issue down the road or just maybe a crack in the brick veneer. So just keep these things in mind. You may see foggy windows, which means a seal may be broken on the window, but trust your inspector and trust your gut. This is really your last great chance to back out if there's anything you're concerned about with this home. So make sure you're asking the right questions throughout this process and just doing all the research you possibly can on this home through this 10 business day period. That covers our due diligence, and next week we'll finish off with making it to closing. Thank y'all.